Welcome to the Meaningful Ideas Trading Club. So Joel Pipkorn is he's gonna carry the bulk of the meeting today. And as I'm Kyle Kaufman, attorney here at hkklawoffices.com. We started the Meaningful Ideas Trading Club a while back. We come here every Thursday between noon and 1 with the purpose of discussing things that relate to personal development and business development. Very lucky today to have Joel Pipkorn. He's been here before, talking last time really about your real estate adventures, how you got into the game, how you executed on that. We thought we'd bring you back because I know that you have a number of other things that you do in addition to real estate that maybe started as side hustles that became profitable for you. And we thought it would be really cool for you to share that with the group.
Well, it's funny how a lot of my side hustles have become my primary source of income, and then it's fluctuated over the years. But essentially, it started with a business that was a wholesale distribution business, mostly popcorn. When I was younger, I worked at a Subway restaurant sandwich shop, and there was a gumball machine at this Subway in the corner. And every so often we'd see a guy come in and fill this thing with gumballs, and kids would beg their parents to put the quarters in the machine. And then a little while later, the guy would come and empty out, bags of quarters. And my buddy and I were just looking at each other at this restaurant like, what a great idea. How awesome to have this passive income. I never pursued it, buying gumball machines and putting them out there, but the idea just really stuck with me. And there was a point that when I was working, I've never had a W-2 job. Really, I worked a W-2 job full time for a couple months, and it just wasn't for me. So I've always been an entrepreneur, independent person. And I stumbled across this idea of popcorn machines and buying a popcorn machine and putting it out at a location and supplying the popcorn, just like the gumball machine idea. So I bought 2 popcorn machines and put them out at a big ballpark that was starting in the area. And within the first couple orders, I ended up paying off those machines, and I made some income off of them for that summer. And so I started buying more. I bought 10 more machines and started putting them out. And eventually things just kind of fell in place. And before I knew it, I had a couple hundred popcorn machines out with 3 sales reps that were navigating their territories, and a girl that was doing my accounting and reception work. And I had a warehouse that we were operating out of in Kenosha County here in Wisconsin, and things were just taking off. I was going all the way from Chicago, to Milwaukee to Green Bay, just doing this popcorn business that started as a side hustle. And so I ended up along the line quitting my full-time job and was running this popcorn business. So that was my first side hustle hobby that just became a full-time gig. And while I was doing that, I had a rental property at the time, and it wasn't really doing that well, but I knew that there was opportunity in real estate. And so I bought another rental property and started another side hustle doing rental properties and just picking them up on the side, getting them fixed up, renting them out. So that was kind of my second side hustle. There was just learning how to manage a property, getting contractors in place, getting properties fixed up and repaired. And then that also evolved into another side hustle of property management. I had other people calling me, asking them for recommendations for contractors, help with managing their rental properties. And so I essentially started another branch of property management and helping people get their rentals in gear and fixed up, and also doing property management on the side. And so those were kind of my 3 or 4, however you want to divide it up, side hustles that I was working on when 2020 came around. And, it was a huge blow to my popcorn business, because essentially what my popcorn business was doing was corporate cafes, the big skyscrapers. I got in with some food service companies, and that's when things really took off. Is I got in with some big food service companies that operate in all the big corporate cafes, and popcorn was just a niche that I found that they needed, that was profitable for them and worked. And in 2020, everyone started working from home, and my business went from gangbusters to basically zero overnight. And
Really?
yeah, so I needed a shift, and I needed to find something else to do. And so I, in my free time, I decided I'll get my real estate license and become a realtor, and just kind of pick up where I left off with the property management, things like that. And so that's what I did, and I ended up becoming a realtor, and that's just led to so many other opportunities as well. That was my side hustle for 2020, 21, into 22, and now 23 is approaching, the popcorn business is coming back, but I'm almost back to where I was pre-pandemic levels. But now that's just become my side hustle because I had so much time to do the real estate and build my real estate portfolio, that now real estate's carrying me, and the popcorn business is just a side thing that I'm doing. And I'm glad to have it. It keeps going. It's great tax benefits, things like that. Some decent income, and it's been really awesome to see how a side hustle became my primary source of income. And because I had another side hustle on the side when my primary source of income fell apart, I was able to pivot and start in the real estate realm of things, which is really taken off. And then so now another thing that I'm starting in real estate is new construction development, and looking at doing my first new construction development, 16 units I was talking about before on the opening, condos right by Lake Michigan, and a beautiful site. It's gonna be awesome. And then on the side of all that, I have a cover band that I play in. So I play guitar with a couple of guys, and that was just a hobby that became a side hustle. And we're doing really well with that too. We headlined Summerfest last summer. Playing in front of thousands of people. We're getting paid pretty decent for a cover band in the Milwaukee area, and just having fun with the guys has become an income producer for me to a certain degree as well. So we got that going too.
Joel, quick question for you. I don't know if we'll get into this later. Derek
Yeah,
Green, action coach of Wisconsin. We're a business and executive coaching firm here in Madison. I
sure.
have a question about your popcorn business. When it started to kind of pop off, how did you build those systems to actually implement sales reps in different territories and build the system for them to do their job and do it effectively?
Yeah. So yeah, that's something that I kind of wanted to get into, is the process of how I put it all together, but really the thing that it comes down to is getting systems in place and clearly defining what the job requires, how to do it the most efficiently really is the biggest thing, is efficiency. And then finding a way to put someone in to make that efficient operation happen without you having to be there and without you having to watch. The thing that's awesome about the popcorn business is that it's just so simple. I mean, there's really nothing complicated to it at all. Anybody can do it. And that's one thing that was really appealing to me, is I did not want to try and reinvent the wheel of doing a new thing that I couldn't figure out or wasn't familiar with. It was just ease of accessibility and entry, like no barriers to entry. I started out with 2 popcorn machines I bought used. I bought both of those popcorn machines for $500 and paid for them over one summer at a ballpark, and made some profit. And now when I buy new machines, I buy better equipment, and they're $1,200 to $1,500. But I worked my way up to being able to get to that point. And one thing that I was never really taught in school or growing up was that debt can really be helpful. It can really help leverage your any ability to do anything. So I was always of the mindset that you want to pay cash, you want to keep your debt down. Debt's bad. You don't want to have that hanging around. I really learned when I bought the popcorn business that if I bought a couple machines on debt, I could make those payments on that debt, and then have positive cash flow after I made those debt payments, and I didn't have to save up all that cash to pay for those, for that equipment out front. And that was really what helped me get going, was when I learned how to manage healthy debt.
Is that how you got into the real estate business too? So how did you buy your first rental property? Did you take out a loan for that, or did you have cash on hand to buy your first rental?
Well, so I bought my first rental property. Was interesting. It was in Oshkosh. I was going to school in Oshkosh. I was 20 years old at the time, and we were renting an apartment full of guys. There was 8 guys living in this duplex, and I just kind of did the numbers and realized that these guys are paying a lot more in rent than any mortgage payment. And so yeah, so that's when I took a loan out on a property, which to me was different than just having debt out. Buying a house is something that everybody did. So I bought my own house when I was 20 years old. It was 5 bedrooms, so I was able to rent out 4 of the bedrooms and make income that way. The thing was, I bought the house in 2007, and if you're familiar with the market, you probably know that things were really hot at that time and banks were not careful at all. So I was a college student. I didn't have a job, and I went to the bank and I asked if I could buy this house. I had minimal down payment, and they told me that I could, because I had these tenants that I was going to rent to. No income, low payment. I way overpaid for the property. It was a really tough situation, but you live and learn. I didn't know at the time what I was getting myself into, and I ended up getting underwater on that property. And when the housing market crashed and I had to move for my job, so I moved out of the property and I was just forced to rent it out so that I didn't have to pay wads of cash to get rid of it. And that's how I started learning the rental history, or the rental process.
You
And
know
I knew
what?
that it could be profitable, so that's why I ended up picking up a second one, and then so on. So then, Andy, to kind of piggyback on that, my second property, when I bought it, I was just getting my popcorn business started, and the banks weren't really into lending me money at that time. It was 2000, what are we looking at? 2010. So I ended up getting a referral from a neighbor because they saw work that I was doing on my personal residence, which is something we can get into as well. But I was doing work on my personal residence, and they asked for recommendations for contractors because their neighbors wanted to get out of this duplex that was right across the street from me, that they wanted to get out of this duplex. And it was just a headache for them. And so I talked to the owner and ended up getting a land contract on the property. And I didn't have any cash, so I borrowed $3,000 on a line of credit. I borrowed the down payment and bought the house on a land contract. Yeah. Probably not, what I would suggest for people to do, but that's really the power, that's the power of leverage that I was talking about. And I put another 15,000 on that line of credit, fixed up the property, and then refinanced the property shortly after that. Got my down payment out, got all my money back for the credit line and a little extra, and paid off that credit line and had a cash flowing property. And then I went ahead and I bought the next one almost right away on a land contract again. Bought that next one for $60,000, and it just recently appraised out at 240,000. So I'm really glad that I took that risk and made it happen.
How many hours are you spending on each one of these ventures per week? So if you have 6 active things going on, right?
Right.
These hobbies that you've turned now into sources of income for you. How many, how do you divide that up?
So, I use this analogy that I've learned from a mentor of mine about, when you're at the circus and you see that performer who's got all the plates up on these sticks, right? And
Yeah, for sure.
they're spinning these plates, and then one plate starts to slow down and wobble a little bit. So then the performer, jumps over there and spins that plate and gets it going again. That's really how I approach things. Right now my spinning plate is the development opportunity that I'm looking at. And when I get a phone call from that development, opportunity, whoever it happens to be, I answer that call immediately. I get a call from someone from the popcorn business.
Right.
I might not answer that call. Maybe I might wait till the next day to reach back to them. That plate's spinning and it's spinning hard, and I really don't need to put much effort into that. I really try to limit my communications to 2 or 3 times a week. So I will let my emails build up. Usually I do emails at the end of the day on Monday, at the end of the day on Wednesday. And then for the popcorn business, it takes a little bit of labor. I got to go out and I got to make the deliveries, the orders that I took. So I do that on Thursday. So usually I'm on the road listening to you guys here on the Meaningful Ideas Trading Club when I'm cruising around on the road.
Nice. Bravo, my friend. Your last point was just on intention. Have a business plan, be intentional about what you're doing. Great stuff, Joel. Thank you.
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks,
All right,
everyone.
guys. Okay, thanks. We'll see you.
Cool.